Democratic presidential candidate and author Marianne Williamson visited the Iowa State Fair in Des Moines over the weekend. She spoke to a crowded audience at the Des Moines Register soapbox on Saturday. During her speech, she outlined her vision of America should she win the presidency.
My qualification is that I know a few things about how to disrupt an unjust system. And that is what we need. We need the American people, particularly the Democrats among us, to become independent enough thinking that we are not just living with this codependent acquiescence to whatever the DNC says. We must remember what George Washington said about political parties, that they could tempt us to become more loyal to our faction than to our country. It is time for us to begin again. The alleviation of stress is not enough. We need fundamental economic reform. We need the things that are actually considered moderate positions in every other advanced democracy. We need universal health care. They'll tell you we don't have it because it's complicated. I'm telling you, we don't have it because it's corrupt. We need tuition-free college and tech schools, which they have in every other advanced democracy and which we had until the 1970s. We need to cancel those college loan debts. Why? Because they should never have existed to begin with. We need child care like in every other advanced democracy. We need paid family leave like in every other advanced democracy. We need guaranteed housing like in every other advanced democracy. We need a guaranteed living wage like in every other advanced democracy.
The DNC will not be hosting a debate for the small number of Democratic candidates going against incumbent Joe Biden, much to Williamson's disdain. Here's how she reacted.
The Democratic Party needs to allow debate, the president and Robert Kennedy Jr. and myself. The American people, but in this case particularly either the Democratic voters or Democratic leaning in open primary states, should have a chance to hear. Robert Kennedy has one agenda. Mine is very different than his, and the president's is very different than mine. All the president has told us so far is, let me finish the job. That is not a political agenda.
Williamson is a Democrat looking to unseat an incumbent for president. Forbes asked her what concerns her the most about President Biden's leadership. Listen in to what she had to say.
President Biden is taking an incremental approach to healing a situation in this country which I feel is more critical. The president is seeking to alleviate the stress of people who are living within an unjust system. I think we need to, and I believe the Democratic Party needs to stand for the ending of that injustice. The president has said that he would not sign a Medicare for all bill. The president has said that he would raise the minimum wage, which he did for federal workers. But remember, the minimum wage is still at $7.25 an hour, okay? 1/3 of America's workers live on less than 15. When it came time for the president to then seek to put the minimum, the extension, the raising of the minimum wage to 15 into the COVID relief bill, he was stopped by the parliamentarian. I promise you, no Republican would let the parliamentarian stop them. When a parliamentarian got in the way of George Bush, he fired the parliamentarian. I have a problem with the fact that the Democrats cut, as they continue to brag about, they cut child poverty in half. Well, first of all, if you could cut it in half, you could probably eliminate it. However, fine, they cut it in half, very happy. However, when that child tax credit expired 6 months later, they did not bother to permanentize it. And also, and I think that this is going to be extremely important in 2024 among young voters, the president has given more oil drilling permits even than Trump did. He has approved the Willow project, the $8 billion ConocoPhillips oil drilling project in the North Slopes of Alaska. Now, they can go on and on with their PR about how he's the climate president, but I assure you, between the oil drilling permits that he has okayed, between the Willow project and more, he has actually nullified the effects of the green energy investments that he has made. We do not have time. We are still headed towards the iceberg, just more slowly and at a different angle.
One day before Marianne Williamson took the stage at the Iowa State Fair, Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel to investigate Hunter Biden. Listen in as she reacts to the news.
First of all, as Americans, all of us need to stand on the principle and recognize that the judicial system acts independently from politics. We need to support that. We need to respect that. There's an independent counsel for Trump, for Biden, and now for Hunter Biden. Let the system do what it does. Secondly, it is important for all of us to acknowledge Hunter Biden is not his father. Having said all that, this clearly complicates the situation. I'm running on the issues. I'm running basically on the issue of economic reform, fundamental economic reform, as well as a genuine turnaround and a move from a dirty economy to a clean economy. However, anyone should be able to see this gives further evidence that the president is a weak candidate and makes us more vulnerable in 2024. I don't blame him for the behavior of his son. I understand all that. I understand it's a personal. I have compassion as human beings, but I think for those of us who are very concerned about winning in 2024, we cannot afford to ignore that complicating factor.
Marianne Williamson is widely considered a long-shot candidate for the 2024 Democratic presidential nomination. A recent New York Times Siena College poll shows her coming in third behind both President Joe Biden and Robert Kennedy Jr.